To anyone calling me a fool for thinking that Biden's gonna drop out, are congressmen fools? Alright, maybe you got me there. Maybe you got me there. But are you gonna get me here? Are gamblers fools? Alright, maybe you got me again. Okay. Trust you. But anyways, jokes aside, Biden recently had an interview with ABC. And here's my unfiltered opinion on it. And after, stay tuned for an in-depth election prediction on Harris v. Trump. Okay, so the news has gone from debate this, debate that, to ABC News this, ABC News that, George Stephanopoulos this, but whatever. It's whatever. The news is just trying to increase its ratings, right? They're saying whatever it takes to get the most people to watch their videos, like me. And for that reason, they're not always accurate. I hope to think I'm accurate, but sometimes you do things to get more views, right? And that's what the news is doing. And for that reason, they're basically making Biden seem like he's doing way better than he actually is. He brushes off poor debate performance as he stays in the race, whatever. Let's look at the political betting websites, because that's what actually matters. Harris is at 44 cents, greater than Biden's 40 cents. And Biden's chance to drop out is a whopping 65% chance, which is a little crazy because he's the incumbent president. And R.T. Ryback, no one really knows who he is outside of Minneapolis, but he's the mayor of Minneapolis, Minnesota. He's summarized it best. Presidential elections aren't the Academy Awards, where you are rewarded for past performance. They are about the future. So basically, the Democratic Party is looking for their future right now. Do they see a future in the 82-year-old Joe Biden? Or do they see the future in Kamala Harris? Or Gavin Newsom? Or Michelle Obama? Etc. That's the question they need to ask themselves to see if Biden should stay in the race. And once they realize the answer, which I believe they already have, they'll realize that Biden is not the best choice. And for that reason, here's the Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump election prediction, because Harris, not Biden, is the one who's most likely to be running as the Democratic Party ticket in 2024 for the presidency. Moreover, I believe this because 4 people in Congress have called on Biden to drop out. Another 13 prominent people have raised concerns. And for 4 people in Congress in your own party to say that you should drop out, that's a little nuts. The Democratic Party only has a little over 200 people in the House of Representatives, and 4 of them have already called on Biden to drop out. So if the writing's not on the wall, I don't know what would make the writing on the wall. Do we need to write it in chalk? Do we need to write it in Sharpie? What do we need to write it in for Biden to realize that he should drop out? Honestly, I don't know. At this point, I don't know. But here's some writing that is encouraging Biden to stay in. Because if Harris replaces Biden, which she is going to, because she has a 16% chance to win, and Biden only has a 13.7% chance, which is a little crazy, given she is his current vice president, and he is running for re-election. But that aside, let's look at the 538 forecast to help influence our prediction. And it's not looking good for Harris. She stands an even worse chance than Biden at winning this election. And stick with me as I comment on each and every state in the union and see who's going to win this election. So let's do this. Let's start with the safe states. We'll go with California. Seems pretty obvious. Harris from California, Newsom's from California. It's going to vote for anyone with a D next to their name. It would vote for a fly on the wall if it had a D on the name. And I'm not being biased here. The state of Wyoming and the state of West Virginia, in the presidential elections, they're voting for anything with an R next to their name, right? That's just how some states are. That's just what they like. These states are more rural and California's more urban, and that's how it is. The state of Hawaii, also the same way. Illinois, there's maybe a slight chance of it going Republican. And I don't think it'll likely go Republican. It hasn't gone Republican in ages. Went to Biden by about 17%, right? Illinois has like a 7% chance according to 538. It's going to Harris. It was where Obama launched his political career from, etc. Chicago dominates the whole state. We know how it is. Illinois is going to the Democratic Party. The state of New York, the same way. Trump's former home state, but this little spot in New York City, it is the reason New York goes to the Democratic Party. Also, some other cities like Erie, etc., influencing New York, going to the Democratic Party. Next, we get to Maryland. Pretty competitive Senate race, but the presidential race isn't so competitive. Biden's home state of Delaware is next. D.C. is even crazier than any other state or district. D.C. would vote for anything other than a Republican. Anything. I'm not necessarily saying crazy in a bad way. I'm an independent. But I'm just saying if 90% of people are voting a certain way, either way, Republican or Democrat, I think that's a little crazy. That's just my opinion on things. DC is actually super interesting if you look at the 538 forecast, because RFK Jr. is actually leading Trump for second place, which is pretty funny. DC just hates Trump that much, you know. And that's where Trump would be living if he ends up winning this next election. So, pretty ironic. But Maine's first goes to Harris, as well as Vermont, even though Vermont has a Republican governor. Also, Kentucky has a Democrat as its governor. Governor elections are different from presidential elections. Sometimes states will vote for Republicans as governor due to tax stuff within the state, or states will vote for Democrat governors due to abortion stuff, etc. But they will vote differently for presidential elections, and that's just how it is for certain states, such as Kentucky and Vermont, and New Hampshire's also kind of one of those states. Massachusetts, which would go to Harris, did get Mitt Romney as its governor at a certain point, fun fact, and he was also senator from Utah, interestingly enough. Rhode Island, Connecticut going to the Democrats, and that's it. All Harris is going to get safely. But Trump has some more. Montana currently has Democrat Senator John Tester. I think he'll be voted out. Here, that's a bonus prediction for you guys. That's why you got to watch these whole videos. Idaho, that's going to Trump. Alaska has a Democrat in Congress, but it's going to Trump. North Dakota, home of Doug Burgum. Anyone who loves Doug Burgum so much, say it in the comments. Make it known. I want to hear it. South Dakota, home of Kristi Noem, who famously shot her dog Cricket. Yeah, very sad story. I'll take a little moment of silence for Cricket real quick. Alright, that's enough. I'm sad for Cricket, you know, but the prediction has to move forward. Nebraska, going to Trump. Nebraska's first, Nebraska's third. Kansas voted blue on an abortion referendum, still going to Trump. Oklahoma, Texas, interestingly enough, has a 79% chance of going to Trump, according to 538. I think that's a little low, actually really low. He won it by 5.6, he won it by 9, he's winning Texas. Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri, Iowa, Indiana, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, South Carolina, and you know, I'll say that's it for now. And as you can tell, it's a little bit lopsided from the get-go. Usually, Biden is leading when he has his safe states, but now Harris actually is trailing Trump, even with her safe states, even with California, Illinois, New York, etc. Harris is trailing Trump. Trump has the majority of what Nixon called middle America on his side. These are the states maybe with less electoral votes, but they join together to make a greater sum. And I'll start with Oregon. So Oregon, most of the state actually, as I said in one of my previous videos, maybe two of them, I don't know at this point, they get jumbled together a little bit. Most of Oregon wants to join Idaho because most of Oregon is actually Republican in landmass, not in population, because a lot of Oregon is in Portland. This is similar to Illinois with Chicago, right? So most of Oregon is actually Republican, wants to join Idaho, but a small subset in terms of landmass is influencing the entire state. The state will still go to the Democratic Party. It actually had a kind of close governor election recently, but that's because an independent was running, but that's besides the point. Trump has a 7% chance. He's not winning Oregon, but it's not going to go to Harris by a crazy amount. Next, we have the state of Washington, 6% chance to Trump. Washington's going to Harris nonetheless. Washington, 15.7 to Clinton, 19.2 to Biden. It's a lot. It's going to Harris. So now let's go to some of Trump's states, which he's going to pretty solidly win. The state of Ohio, he's going to win. State of Ohio, it's in like the Midwest. It's been going Republican. It's beat expectations for Republicans. 2 elections in a row, 8 to Trump. 8 to Trump again. Went to Trump back candidate Bernie Moreno. It's going Republican. State of Florida, the same. State of Florida gives 30 electoral votes to Trump. Went to Trump 2 elections in a row. One interesting election to look at is the 2016 election because I think this one's going to be pretty similar. 2 unpopular candidates, Clinton and Harris. Both had very prominent political positions, definitely not outsiders like Trump was before he ran for president. And you know, Clinton and Harris both probably have similar approvals, honestly. And for that reason, I think their elections are a pretty accurate comparison for what would the hypothetical be. And I think soon this won't be a hypothetical. I think I'm a little ahead of the curve on this one. Might be tooting my own horn a little bit, but soon I think this is going to be reality. Harris is going to be running against Donald Trump. But let's just see what happens in this hypothetical for now. Let's go to New Jersey. New Jersey had a recent poll favorable to Trump, but that pollster isn't very good. But anyways, the Senate election in New Jersey is also going to be kind of close. New Jersey, 13% chance to Trump. With Harris, maybe 20% chance, but it'll still go to Harris. Slimmer margins than usual, but it'll go to Harris. Can't put it any slimmer than Florida. I can't bring myself to do that. Next, we have Colorado and New Mexico. So Colorado and New Mexico will probably go to Harris. Colorado with Trump v. Biden, 13% and then 19%. Yeah, I think that's about accurate. Maybe I'll put them at the same margin. They're both going to Harris, don't get me wrong. Harris gets up to 196 electoral votes, Trump's 218. They're both states that have gone to the Democratic Party elections upon elections upon elections in a row. Colorado has had a strong leftward shift. It used to be like pretty Republican, honestly, and then it kept shifting and shifting and shifting. 2020, now 13.5% to Biden. It's going to Harris. Not by a crazy amount, but by a pretty decent amount nonetheless. Harris will get another state, and this is the state of Virginia. Governor Glenn Youngkin is a Republican Trump-backed candidate. He's a likely contender for 2028, perhaps 2024 if Trump somehow severely falls off, if Trump somehow fumbles his words, gets some dementia or something, I don't know. Then maybe Glenn Youngkin would run in 2024, but definitely in 2028, he's going to have a pretty solid chance, mark my words. But Virginia, 26% chance to go to Trump against Biden. I think against Harris, maybe 30 to 40%, but it'll still go to Kamala Harris. It went to Hillary Clinton by pretty solid amount, actually, 5%. Virginia is another one of those states that used to go Republican and now goes to the Democratic Party. And Harris now narrows it up. But Trump still has the Midwest. The Midwest, I don't think, wants someone who was the Attorney General of California and who locked people up and then laughed about it as president. The Midwest has, it's sort of like, I think it has an air of blue collar atmosphere a little bit, kind of like some of the West Coast states like Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming, but more also urban at the same time. I know I'm contradicting myself, but I think you get what I mean. The Midwest, they kind of like Trump's vibes, if you will. So, Wisconsin, which has a 48% chance to go to Trump against Biden. And I will give Biden this. Biden is an established politician. I think had he run and gotten the nomination 8 years ago, he'd have been a very sharp candidate. He was sharp 8 years ago. As vice president, he was sharp, and he has his background on his side. He faced tragedy. He overcame tragedy. He used to be the youngest senator in the entire country. He was born and raised in Scranton. He loves bringing that up. Scranton, Delaware. Middle class man. And that's what he has on his side. And Harris, even though I bet she was more middle class than Trump, Trump somehow appeals more to the middle class in many ways than Harris does. I don't know how he does it. He's a billionaire. He lives in Mar-a-Lago. I don't know how he appeals to the middle class, but he does. And he's going to win the Midwest against Harris. And the polls show it. The polls absolutely show it. Harris has a 25% chance of winning Wisconsin. Boom, Wisconsin to Trump. Harris has a 37% chance to win Michigan. Boom, Michigan to Trump. Harris has 27% chance to win Pennsylvania. Boom, Pennsylvania to Trump. Minnesota's her only shot. I don't even think Minnesota will go to Harris. And let's look at this. Biden has a 40% chance. Harris has around a 15% chance less than Biden in most states. So let's do 15%. That's 53% chance to 48. Yeah, tilt to Trump is about right. I think Trump's winning the state of Minnesota against Harris. 272 to 209 is the tally, and let's see how big this lead can actually get. So let's go to the Northeast. This is a Democrat stronghold, and let's see if Trump can pull it out. And first, let's give Nebraska second to Trump real quick. Maine second to Trump real quick. You know how it is. Anyways, Maine's at large. Maine's at large went to Clinton by only 3. Maine's at large is speculated to go to Biden, 72%. It'll go to Harris, but not by much. Maybe 3% like it did to Clinton. What matters is it's only 2 electoral votes. Sorry if you're from Maine, but honestly, on an electoral standpoint, Maine does not offer that many. And that's because of the system where it has each congressional district give 1 electoral vote. So Maine and Nebraska offer the least amount of electoral votes in their at-large district in the entire union, fun fact. And now we get to New Hampshire. With its 30% chance to go to Trump, I think it'll tilt towards Harris. I think Trump against Harris, maybe 45% chance, 50 if he's lucky, but it'll go to Harris. Trump did win New Hampshire against Nikki Haley, a very popular candidate in the state of New Hampshire, and Chris Christie for that matter. But New Hampshire is going to Harris. The Democrats win the Northeast, they win the West Coast. That's just how it is. The Republicans win the Midwest sometimes, and they win Middle America, and that's how it is. And That's just part of the electoral spotlight that you just have to contend with. Whether you're a Democrat and you don't like that Republicans always win this section of the country, or you're a Republican and you don't like that Democrats always win this section of the country. It's all geography. That's what elections are. They're geography. Rant aside, starting to sound a little bit like Biden during the debate. I'm sorry about that. But let's go to North Carolina. North Carolina, which went to Trump, I say time and time again, 2016, 2020. And the reason I say it is because Trump did so much worse in 2020 than in 2016. It was COVID, it was a lot of factors, this and that, the other thing. I'm not going to get into it. But North Carolina stayed with Trump. Ohio stayed with Trump. Florida stayed with Trump. And for that reason, I don't see any scenario where North Carolina flip. I don't think North Carolina will flip against a less popular candidate than Biden, against a party that's literally in turmoil with Biden's debate performance, etc. North Carolina is not going to flip. The state of Georgia is going to Trump. Georgia is given similar odds as North Carolina, and that's because Georgia back in 2020, it can essentially be said as a coin flip. 0.24, that doesn't really matter. 0.31, that doesn't really matter. Obviously, it does matter, but when predicting the future, those percentages don't matter too much when factoring them in. And Arizona is also going to Trump. Arizona 60% chance, it's going Trump against Harris by maybe 70% chance, 80%. I'd give it 80. And Nevada is going to Donald Trump. Nevada did go to Biden, but the interesting thing about Nevada is it stayed constant. In a landscape where almost every state shifted more towards blue, Nevada did not. And for that reason, this leads me to believe Nevada will go to the Republicans. Polling indicates this. Biden and Harris. Harris has a 35% chance. Arizona 23% chance. Enough said. Trump is winning 323 to 215. Tell me in the comments, who do you think can beat Trump? Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, whatever to boost this video. If you want to. If not, that's fine. And thank you.